Name's Rain. This weekend was absolutely ridiculous with the storms that we had rolling through. I'm telling you, my truck is not flat, but it could have been. I was sitting, you know how I sit sometimes. I was sitting at my desk playing Rainbow Six Siege. I had just started up a casual match. First round, we goofing around, trying to drone out the defensive spot and try and get into bomb site, plant the diffuser. And as I'm sitting there trying my best to play a video game after work, the thunder and the lightning begins outside. A cacophony of ridiculousness of the meteorological variety. And I'm starting to get a little upset because, I just sat down, but now I know that the confounded lightning's probably going to hit the transformer on the pole outside, and I'm going to be in the dark, and I'm not going to be able to play my game, and then I'm not going to have the air conditioned. Well, then I heard a crackling noise. And growing up in the South and growing up around people who own chainsaws, and you eventually you start to understand what certain crackles mean. There's the crackling of fire and the crackling of fireworks and the crackling of, I don't know, somebody smashing a loaf of crispy bread, and then there's also the crackling of a tree falling. And I heard that crackling, and I swear I teleported. 1 second I'm over here playing Siege and droning with my Twitch drone, and then I hear that noise, and I'm in the bathroom on the other side of the house. I heard that sound, and I just dove for the bathroom, because the bathroom is further away into the interior of the house, further from the exterior walls than my desk is. My desk is right next to an exterior wall. And so I heard that crackling and just went pew, like confounded Roadrunner, dive into the bathroom, and then I hear the tree smash on the ground. And I got so upset. I said, oh my goodness, I guarantee it landed on my house or on my truck, one or the other. So I went outside. Bad idea, as tremendous and passionate as the lightning was outside. It was about one lightning strike every 2 seconds out there. It was the worst storm I'd seen since the last one. And I walk outside, and all I see is trees. All I see is underbrush, limbs. The tree fell right here, right in front of the front door, just off my patio. And I was like, okay, well, it definitely flattened my truck because I parked right there. So I go get my flashlight, and I'm wondering, man, it just must have hit the battery or something because the alarm's not going off. So I walk outside, and this tree is probably this wide. It's about yay big, about 9 10 inches. And I walk out, and I see there's this big old tree laying here. Right on the other side of it is my truck. That oak tree threaded the needle of a gap in between my apartment, my patio, and the truck. Fell perfectly, precisely between them. If it had fallen one iota to the left or one mediocre molecule to the right, it would have smashed something of value. But it did not. It landed precisely, perfectly between, and I could not believe it. I also dashed back inside once I realized that everything was okay, because still, I'm jumping between lightning bolts trying to survive out here. It was a horrendous way to end the weekend. It was astonishing. And of course, it only storms during the weekend. Whenever you're actually trying to do things, whenever you finally have a moment to yourself where you can accomplish something besides work. During the work week, clear as a bell. Sunny, beautiful cumulus of horizontal development clouds. I'm telling you something. It's just gorgeous outside. But then let it be a Friday or a Saturday or a Sunday. Whenever you're off and you're at the house or you're trying to go out and do something with the family, Thor himself will come down to absolutely blast the land and make sure you can't do a damn thing. Very, very annoying. But, it could be worse. I have no idea how. I just know it could be. So, I'm on lunch break right now. Nothing really going on. I just came out here to eat some pizza. And today we've been up in the ceiling again, pulling the MC cable in the joists. Because those wall packs that we put up outside, we got to have wire for them. Now, you'll notice with tall buildings like this, spaced out at set increments, there will be those lights on the wall that are about 35 feet high off the ground. And it shines down to illuminate, right in front of the building so that you don't trip or aliens don't try and grab you or something like that. It's just supplemental lighting because the light poles can only cover so much ground. So they've got those wall packs up against the wall to make it easier and safer. But they're powered by inside the building at the location of every one of those wall packs. There's a junction box, and the wire comes out of the light through 8 inches, 10 inches of concrete into that box. And then there's a pipe that goes up out the top of the box, up into the rafters of the building, the joists. And then there's another box right there. So you've only got maybe 8 feet of conduit. It goes from the box on the wall up into the ceiling. And then from the box at that end of the conduit, you got cable. It goes all the way around that combines all of the boxes into one circuit. Well, not one circuit for a building of this size. Sometimes you'll have a building that'll be small enough where they'll all be on one circuit, but usually it's at least 2 circuits because you'll have the north half of the building and the south half of the building. Because of voltage drop, like if you have a uninterrupted circuit that is long enough, eventually, because electricity is not infinitely strong, able to go across miles and miles of wire without starting to weaken. It's got drop off is what it is. And you get to the end of 300 feet of wire and your voltage might be 5-10 volts less than what it was whenever it started. And it depends on the size of the wire too. The ampacity of the wire, the diameter of the wire needs to be sizable enough for the current to carry the full length without dropping off too much. Generally, the larger the wire, the further it's able to carry a predictable amperage. So you got something that's as big around as your thumb is going to carry more voltage for a further distance without dropping off than one that's as big around as your pinky. And if your thumb and your pinky are the same diameter, then congratulations. I wonder if that would actually be an advantage somehow. Probably not. Evolutionary advantage related to your finger diameter has got to be something goofy. But anyways, that's all we've been doing today. Just sitting up there in the scissor lift, sweating my small but shapely tuchus off all day long. Effectively just sitting there. Because whenever you're pulling MC up in the ceiling, MC means metal clad. It's metal clad cable, MC cable. So it's cable that's the wires inside are protected by a metallic armor sheath that goes around it so it doesn't get bonked or any of that, crushed. But the way we've got it working now is we'll have the spool of MC, which is very big. It's about, 200-300 pounds. It's closer to 200 pounds. We'll have it sitting on one of our scissor lifts, and then one of me, because I'm 145 pounds, and so me plus that 200 pound spool does not go over the weight restriction of the scissor lift. And I don't have any tools up there, so we don't have to add that into the calculation. But I can go up in the scissor lift safely with that spool. And then another scissor lift with 2 other guys will go around pulling that MC cable from me. Tiberius Fizzlebot liked your video. Well, that's a heck of a name. Thank you, Tiberius Fizzlebot. But the 2 coworkers will pull the MC cable off of my lift, off of the spool with me, and take it to these different light boxes. And I don't get to do anything during that. I have to sit there feeling sorry for myself while these 2 guys are doing all the work and having all the fun. And it can't change. Like I can't do anything because I have to stay stationary so that the roll of cable stays stationary. But like none of them can come over onto my lift and at least carry on conversation because they'd overload the weight restriction. Because the weight limit on that type of platform lift is 500 pounds. And so I'm 145, the spool's 200. Put one of those 200-pound sons of guns on that lift, and down we go. So yeah, we can't really change the situation. I just have to be bored all day, 10 hours a day, pulling all this cable. Luckily today we'll have it all finished. We won't have to do another work day where I get to do absolutely nothing but sit there and feel sorry for myself. No, they've gone all the way around the building. We've got all the cable pulled except for that far end way the heck down there over there by the gas station and the begonias, and we'll get that last little bit of cable pulled and be done finally. Go do something else. Probably what we got next to do is we got to make roof penetrations with a big old drill bit shaped like a cup and drill up through the metal decking of the roof so that we can stick a pipe up through the roof so that we could supply power to the rooftop air conditioner units. There's about 6 of them, I believe. Uh, and we have to do that pretty soon because eventually they're going to start waterproofing the roof. They haven't done that yet. The way they waterproof a big old building like this so that it doesn't rain inside the building is they'll put up the metal decking and they'll screw it to the joists, which makes a whole bunch of holes. The place leaks like a sieve because of all those holes from the screws going through. And I mean, really, it does. The leaking like a sieve is kind of an understatement because if it rains, as huge as that roof is, as much surface area as the roof of a warehouse has, uh, yeah, it'll continue raining for like 2 or 3 hours inside the building after it stops raining outside because all that water's got to go somewhere, and because of how flat the roof is, it does drain, but it drains very slowly. And so it'll be pouring, flooding down rain inside the building, and you just kind of got to jump between wherever the streams of water are coming down and try and work where it's not flooding down on you. But like I say, they will weatherproof this roof probably next week to next 2 weeks. And to weatherproof it, they put down all of these big foam pads, hard foam, not like styrofoam, but really good thick foam. And they'll cover the entire roof space with it. Big squares, probably 10 feet long by 8 feet wide. And once they have all of those foam squares secured up there with tacks, they'll put a big rubber mat over the top of that and then glue that down, staple that down, and then patch wherever the seam of it is. And once that's set and cured, the roof won't leak. In theory, now I've been on plenty of job sites where they weatherproof the entire roof and there's that one spot in the most inconvenient place possible that it'll continue to leak, and it'll be leaking on top of somebody's equipment or next to a wall where they just freshly put up sheetrock, and so now that absorbs a whole bunch of water. There's always some kind of a snafu with the weatherproofing because it's such a gigantic building. Whenever they're weatherproofing a warehouse, there's so much space that they have to go through and weatherproof. They can't possibly get it perfect. There's always going to be that one spot that's leaking just because of how much work they have to do. And if they do have, one spot that's leaking, well, they got lucky because there's plenty of other spots that it could possibly leak. So one leak probably means they did a good job. I know if I try to weatherproof a roof, the piece that you castle with and just. If I tried to weatherproof a roof, it'd probably be wetter inside the building than it ever would be outside. But other than that, not really anything else that's going to go on today. Just pulling the cable, getting that wrapped up. And then I'm going to go home, take me a shower, shake a tower, as my mother would say, and then play a little bit of Rainbow Six Siege before I go to bed. And I've been enjoying Rainbow Six Siege. Last night I played it with Heavy and Draco and Cloud, and we had a grand old time. All 3 of them are fairly new. Matter of fact, last night was the first time Draco had ever played the game. He got to the ripe old age of level 2. And he's been loving Echo. I'm so happy. He's enjoying an operator that sits there and defends. But we played a good bit of that last night. Need to play it again this weekend. That was enjoyable. I also been wanting to get back into Sea of Thieves, but we'll see how that goes. Really haven't had too many people that have been wanting to play it. Mostly because the game is, $40 on Steam, which it was just on sale, but heck, I didn't even realize it was on sale until it was about coming off sale, which, I mean, I already had it. I paid full price for it about 2 years ago and just never really got into it until recently, whenever, there's actually some people that were playing it for a bit there. As long as there's people playing the game, I'll play it. As long as there's people playing any video game, that is what I'm going to play. I don't like soloing anything. I know I do it sometimes, for streams or whatever, but it's not my preferred way of playing a video game. I don't like doing something magnificent in a game and no one to celebrate with but the 4 beige rolls around me. And my watermelon collection. Of course, can't forget the watermelon collection. Let's see. Can I minimize? Oh my goodness. What the heck? Okay, so minimizing the YouTube app actually stops the stream. Really? Because it said reconnecting whenever I tabbed back into YouTube. Well, that's annoying. I can't alt-tab on mobile streaming. I'm going to have to call and complain. I'm going to have to get Mr. Google involved or whatever. Whoever's in charge of YouTube now. I know that Miss Susan woman is no longer in charge, or maybe she was retiring and hasn't quite gone out of office yet and somebody else hasn't taken her place, but we'll see how that goes. I know a lot of people complained about her. I don't know exactly what she did wrong that made everybody mad, and I don't know if the new person that's taking her place is, going to do any better, or people are more happy about them taking over than they were about Miss Susan being in charge. But I haven't had any problems with YouTube thus far. The only major issue that I've had is, well, that's been a long time ago, and they've changed a lot since then, so I'm not worried about it. But anyhow, it has been 18 minutes since I began, and I got about 30 minutes left of lunch break, so I need to go ahead and get, but I'll hopefully not have a big old storm this weekend that'll knock out the power whenever I'm trying to get on the stream, because we're going to stream some Siege this weekend. Hopefully, you'll have a delightful day.